this over. I didn't do anything to it really. You can see the bottom is, probably wanted to give this a little bit more time, but it's getting to the end of class, so we're going to start this. The first thing I like to do is I like to get one of these wood chisels, which, you know, there's stone chisels in there and there's wood chisels. I like to use the wood chisel, and I'll tell you why later. And then you can just use any mallet. And the first thing you want to do is to try to get underneath this fabric we put on to seal it up. You can put this on its side, or your work will be much heavier, so it will resist the blows of the hammer more. So just getting underneath it, and usually you can rip it up. You may want to wear goggles. I should remind you. And if I had more time, I'd run in there and grab a set of goggles. In fact, I think there's one over on that model, or that cart over there, if you want to hand me. Okay, so once I get past this, you know how you built your mold, and we're basically going to be constructed in a certain way. Okay. Now, thank you. All right. The next thing I want to try to do is try to get underneath this burlap here. So I know where this mold is, and I know that I'm not close to the thing. Can you just concentrate? So I know I'm not close enough yet, but I like to kind of cut through this burlap first. And in some ways, what I'm really trying to do here is find the surface. Because if I can find the surface, that's when I can really start chipping away. And you see here that actually it's working pretty well, and there's large chunks coming off. But your first effort is to find the surface. And then you can start measuring things from there. This is working pretty well. You can see that it's starting to break off just by kind of trying to get through there. But that's not always going to happen. Whenever you have these pieces with the burlap, it's great to be able to just yank on it. Remember I reminded you this is a little too early on the chipping out, and that's what happens when it's a little too early. Okay? All right. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to find like all these pieces here on the connected and on the cast. And the way to chip out, the safest way to chip out, believe it or not, is to go straight in. So you want to set up your chisel perpendicular to the form. You're not going to be carving. Carving is like this. So if I wanted to carve, if I'm doing stone carving, I might look like I'm carving like this. But what I'm actually going to do is smash it straight down and break it. And what you're going to see is the chisel, the wood chisel has a little bevel on it. And that bevel goes down like this, and then it's flat on the other side. And what that does is if you go in like this, I'm pointing that bevel towards where I want it to break. So for example, I might hit it like this. That bevel is here, so it's pointing up that way. So by going in here, it's going straight in, and it's actually forcing a piece in that direction. So what I'm going to do is tap this, and I'm going to keep tapping it until, theoretically, it snaps. There, it snapped. And you can see there's a little fault. And what I've done, I can give it a little twist. And what I've done is my chisel is actually, when it snaps, the blade of that chisel is not anywhere near that surface. So I'm breaking the mold, and I'm telling the mold to break in a certain way here, and where that cast is and where that soap is telling it where to break along the surface of the cast. So let me just do that a couple more times. It's going to be hard where there's burlap, but usually you try to get underneath the burlap first, and then along the surface you're just going through this process of tapping, and then you'll see it break. And you can give it a little twist or just pull it out by hand. And so you can see that it goes in that direction. Do not twist it like this, because then it's very difficult for that crack to occur. Right? So if I flip it like this, it snaps right along there, and it's a nice little bite out of it. Right? If I went like this, I'm going to intentionally do a bad here, is that it doesn't really ever have time to snap, and I'm going to make it down to the surface before it breaks. So don't do that. So what I want to do is this, just straight in. I'm just going straight in on the mold, and if I kind of work my way back, I'm just taking nibbles, right? Boom, 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 boom. Just take what is easy. Like if there's a little area here that's coming out, take that. Don't try to do the hard parts first. Take the easy parts. If you take the easy parts, they'll reveal, other parts that might be easier. You see that I'm kind of working my way in. I kind of relate it to eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If you're a little kid and you don't know any better, you might take a bite of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then take another bite, and then it kind of comes up on your cheeks. And because the crust is out here, you might not want to eat that crust, but you should eat the crust here. You should eat the stuff that's out there. If you see these little peninsulas of material, take those first, right? Because if you keep biting in here like this, it's going to be really difficult for those pieces to come out. And you get peanut butter and jelly on your cheeks. Okay? So that's how that works. Now, how would you might work this way, or you can put it down on its face, but I wouldn't put it this down now, because that's going to ruin your surface. So most of the time you're going to be working up like this. Let's see if we can get those ears out. I don't know, we'll cross our fingers. It's always tough, and especially with the casting being a little bit early, but we'll give it a shot. But if you can get behind the ears with the burlap, I'm going to use the chisel to cut through a little bit of that burlap. With a sharp enough chisel, it will cut it. I'll say I pulled it. This is the side that I left the clay in intentionally to screw it up, and you see that I've lost all that material if I don't clean out my mold. Right? So that's why that came out easily. Now let me try to do the other side where I cleaned it out well. Again, I'm trying to get underneath the burlap first. Okay? I know where my cast is, so I can be confident in going in that direction. Now I'm going straight in here. There, it snapped. Now we can start. So I've got two of those burlap parts going down the front first. Right? And now I can go down the back. I know my ear is around here, so what I might do is give my mold a chance to break first. So I've got that burlap off the top. Now what I want to do is kind of get it off the side. So I'm going in on the side here and getting underneath it. Let's see what happens. There's the top of my ear, right? And now it would be great, all that burlap is on the outside of the ear. What I might do is get it to snap along the top of that ear. There. And now I can pull it in that direction, away from the ear, and we'll cross our fingers. And it wants to. So you can see the outside of that ear has come out. Now there's a lot of, and actually if you feel that, there's a little texture here from the soaping that wasn't as clean as it should have been. Again, take a little more time with that. And now the front end of this ear kind of pops out, because it's really that top edge of the ear that you want to kind of get to. Break the burlap side off first, and then the front side pops off nicely. Then down here where there's not a lot of information, where your shoulders are, there's no little parts that you have to worry about. So, you know, a lot of that is just grabbing, and sometimes what I do is I'll just give, once I see this edge here, right, give that a little tap. It'll come straight off. I know I'm not worried about any detail, so I can do that. Now, let's start to see where it's coming out, right? And now you're going to have some detail around the eyes. And this, you follow. I've already pulled that burlap off from the mold, and now it's just following that same rule, biting, right? Tap, tap. I'm going to try to take this whole peninsula off here. There, snapped. As soon as it snaps, you stop hitting it, pops off. Haven't touched the surface. Done. Pop. Little peninsula there. See, you got to know your geography when you come into the sculpture. This side is, and you know, again, you take what is given you. Take the easy stuff first. If it doesn't come, you know, like I saw there where I was trying to work this side off, it's kind of biting in there. Don't force it. You never force it. That's the thing. It wants to come off and nothing. Okay, there you go. What I'll do here is, it's a little bit biting, maybe chop this part. There we go. That should come off now. A little bit of, see, there's the face and the eye. There was a little air bubble for the nose. Remember, I couldn't reach down in. And now this last eye, you know, there's this spot here. Could come off very easily. Take that off. Take what is given you. Take the easy stuff first. Don't force it. And you shouldn't have any problems breaking your mold. And done.